Hello, this is an email from Nikki. Nikki writes, I'm trying to recover from a relapse after recovering, I thought, from anorexia as a teenager. I feel so lost. I thought I was over my eating disorder, and now I find myself struggling at the age of 40. I do really want to start recovery again, but I feel embarrassed and ashamed that this is a problem for me at my age. Do you have any suggestions about how to approach my GP or therapist? I don't feel I'm underweight enough to really deserve help, and I feel they will think it's stupid to be struggling at my age. Thanks for your advice, Nikki. Well, Nikki, I guess a lot of it is going to depend on your GP and your therapist as to whether they are educated enough about eating disorders. GPs, assuming they're in the UK, unlikely, sadly. I mean, you could get lucky, but they don't really spend any time on eating disorders. And if a GP is over the age of 20, then they were probably taught nothing about, say, the genetic locus for anorexia or anything else like that. They were probably taught the sort of, oh, this is all due to childhood issues and only teenage girls get anorexia. So you got to sound out whomever your GP is. Just see if you think that they are somebody that is up to date, that was actually taught anything relevant now about eating disorders, and if they are somebody that understands a health at every size approach. Most importantly, hopefully they're somebody that will understand that you can have an eating disorder at any size. And in my sort of bubble world of haze and eating disorder stuff, you sort of can be easy to forget that most doctors just do not. Some of them haven't even heard of health at every size, and they certainly might not understand it. They think it's like, oh, that's the thing that is saying that obesity is healthy. What's a load of rubbish? So you've got to tread pretty carefully. Therapist, it sounds like you've already got a therapist, so this is somebody that you should maybe already know if they're going to understand an eating disorder or not. Do be a little bit careful with yourself. If you don't think your therapist or your GP are able to give you the support that you need, then you're just not going to find it with them. It's a really big ask. Say if you've got a 40-year-old to 60-year-old GP and their whole life they've been told that eating disorders are caused by traumatic childhoods and that only teenage girls get them. It's just going to be a big ask for them without any education and without the motivation to become educated themselves, to in their busy day, to start looking up on eating disorders and maybe trying to get up to date. I'm not saying that GPs are bad, I'm really not. I'm just saying that that's exactly what they are. They're general practitioners, and they get a snippet, they get a little bit of training in everything, and we can't expect them to be right up to date with the newest understandings and research about things like anorexia. They're going to have their perceptions, they're going to have their stereotypes. So just be a little bit protective of yourself. Maybe go into it with that in mind. They're probably going to say, oh, I can't have anorexia. They're probably going to say that. And you have to be ready to advocate for yourself and say, now listen, actually, here's why I do have anorexia. I know it shouldn't be like that. I know it shouldn't be that way. It just is. You have to be prepared to advocate for yourself and push for the support that you need. That's messed up. It's like you've got enough going on dealing with an eating disorder, let alone having to sort of educate your therapist and your GP. But that's how it is at the moment. Hopefully it's changing. The genetic study that Cindy Buick did, and I did a podcast with her. If you haven't heard that, it's worth listening to. I would say that because I did it, but I actually don't say that about most of my podcasts. So I think that actually hit the mainstream, which is good. I saw that just mainstream sort of news sources have picked that up. So maybe it will have got onto some GPs and people's, they've seen that headline, and maybe they will, just out of curiosity, have read through. Maybe, I don't know, could get lucky. Sometimes peer support, if you're stuck with your GP and you're stuck with a therapist, or there's not a therapist in your area that really understands eating disorders and health every size, then sometimes peer support and sometimes online is your best bet. I'm not saying that that's an ideal thing. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that sometimes for some people that's a reality. But your primary resource is always going to be and has to be your own self. You have to decide, I have an eating disorder. I don't need anybody else to validate that. And I'm going to sort myself out. That's really what it's going to come down to. And if you can do that, you absolutely will sort yourself out. Let us know how you got on, all right? Bye.